We have 3 members of the finance and facilities committees, but it seems I'm the only one here. So I think it's at the moment I guess I'm in the committee.
You are it?
There's the agenda. So first up is public comment. I understand we have one person signed up. See Braun.
Nancy Brown?
Is there anyone else?
That's it.
That's it. All right.
So I'm Nancy.
Second committee we're saved. I thought I was gonna be
Yeah, I almost called you, but I can't.
Well, so I'm glad you're here because I'm Nancy Braun and I'm a kindergarten teacher at Caroline, and I just came tonight to give some thank yous and shout outs to some folks at facilities. So I'm glad to have more than one board member hear it. So I want to thank our new custodian, Mr. Gerard, Mr. G, for just stepping in at Caroline. He's been fantastic, so professional, so kind, so fun and wonderful to work with, so helpful and supportive, and our classrooms are super clean and functional. And I also want to give a shout out to Mr. Ron, who has been our custodian for a couple of years now, and we are at I think 2.5 years where we're down one of our 3 custodians, and so Ron has been shouldering a lot of that for that time, and thank you to him. And so we've got a great new team. We're not at 100% yet, but we're just it's been wonderful. It's been a great start to the year. And today I was over at Hancock, and I got to see Emily with facilities, and she has been amazing this year. She has set me up with the whole digital platform, and I feel like our facilities department is making me, it feels like it's coming into the 21st century where I can actually check on work orders and see the progress of things. That's been fantastic, and she's been super helpful with that. And Sean at facilities, I met him in August when I had a really complex set of needs, moving into a classroom that hadn't been used in over a year and needed new blinds, needed a complicated air conditioner setup, needed electrical, plumbing, all this stuff. And I think I have had more work orders processed and taken care of in the last couple months than in my previous 10 years at ICSD. So it's been so phenomenal, and I can't say enough good things. And lastly, I just want to say thank Ryman for also helping with my classroom setup, of getting the new shelves that we were missing, and they are now up and assembled and functioning, and kids are enjoying their toys. So thank you for being all things facilities as well as all things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Is there another? Okay. Committee response.
I just appreciate you appreciating that. Thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for coming and sharing that with us. It's rare, but appreciated when we have positive feedback. I have to put a note in the calendar here, today when there was 0 positive feedback. So, and I guess so. It's great to hear about the support you're getting and the hard work staff members you pointed out. Just 2 comments. One is that we have, I think, across the board at the district tried to move to systems where requests are made, ticketed, time stamped, and then status updates, and then we can look back and examine metrics and say how fast do we get back to people, things like that. So I think from HR and facilities across the board, processes as opposed to phone calls and emails that get forgotten or dropped, I think is the way to go. So that's great to hear. And yeah, I'm looking at you. Maybe just at some point, maybe sort of send some of the feedback back to the appropriate buildings so that the folks who've worked hard and have been recognized can maybe their leadership can hear that their work is appreciated.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, Nancy. That was great.
So,
All right,
thank you.
thanks, Ron.
Thank you. Moving on, minutes. I'm sure that I missed my email, but I didn't see the thing. So I'm gonna just move next
Yes.
month.
I didn't read
Okay.
it, if it was there.
Maybe it came in, they got a lot of emails, but let's just move it to next month. Okay, so then we go into consideration of accounts, so all the 4 dot items, so looking around the room, I'm guessing that there are a few faces here who have not attended a facilities and finance committee meeting before.
Welcome to the best of the
Welcome.
best.
You picked a good, is this a government class? Yeah, okay, well, you picked a good meeting.
Is it short?
Well, yeah, that's, that's the first criteria for good meeting is short. Sites.
Oh,
I
you won't be here for that long.
think you may have to come back then.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll sign your papers anyway.
If it's a 2-hour meeting, I'm gonna go through every line of the budget.
Yeah, every line.
Yes.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna introduce, I'm gonna ask our finance team to introduce themselves and since this is a board of education, we have students here who want to know about how school districts are run. Could maybe you go through the 4 dot items, but maybe just say a word at the beginning, like what is all this stuff and why do we do it and why do you come to the board and present these reports? Just so someone new might know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Well, great, we'll start with the treasurer's report.
that's right.
Yes.
Are you gonna introduce yourself down there?
I'll wait till the end, I'll be at the end.
Well, I'll introduce myself. I'm Lori Mudge and I'm the treasurer here at this district. And I'm going to, the first one is the treasurer's report that we, basically combine all of our, accounts that we have within the district and all the revenues that come in and the disbursements that go out, and that gives us our ending balance for that month. And the one, we have today is for our October of 2025. And, with this, it shows that tax season started on October 1st. We started collecting all the taxes for the and within this helps us with the budget for the school. So we try to, if we have that money, try to invest it so that we have more to offer at the, throughout the school. So with this, we did create 4 more new CDs with this tax money that came in. Although we tried to go reach out and get the best rate that we can, that they are dropping, unfortunately. So I think we did pretty good at the time that this all came in. Any questions or?
Thank you.
So just to add to what Lori was saying, the treasurer's report is something that we have to report on every month. So we run a little bit behind on that. And it is there's many things that we do at the finance committee meeting that are monthly things. So you'll see it repeated throughout the year. And obviously, the treasurer's report is probably hitting close to a high in our cash flow right now because of the tax season coming in and some of our aids starting to turn around. So you'll see this going down because as we get through the year, we're paying salaries and all the expenses to run the school district. So this cash balance, you might see it a little bit higher next month, but slowly you'll start seeing that go down. And at the end of the year, we're pretty much all school districts are fairly cash poor at the end of the year. They make it through the summer until they start collecting taxes again and state aid starts coming in. So it's like cyclical. Our budget ends and our money is gone for that year. And then we do some more investments and it adds to fund balance if we have anything extra. The next thing on the agenda is the profit and loss for the food service department. That is something that is regularly on every month. And this just shows what the food service has done for the month of October. And then it does a year-to-date comparison to last year's year-to-date comparison so we can see where we're at. The one thing I'd like to point out to the committee is there is a deficit in the October. However, we did secure a $631,000 grant with the FDA. As anything is with the federal government, it is a lot of red tape to go through and start having those payments come in, and we're still working on it. And I hope I have the last hurdle done. So we should be seeing that come in, and that's going to replace some of these expenses. So the expenses are there, but the revenue has not come in on that, which is resulting in that $45,000 deficit in October, so. You'll see a change in that hopefully, well, in the December report, because we're already through November. Then we have things that we do, budget transfers. The board has to approve any transfers within the budget that are over $10,000. So, most of these throughout the year end up being salary settlements. So usually when we budget, we have money put into a pot for the salaries. Then as the year goes on and we're paying the teachers and certain lines are falling into a deficit, we're moving money out of that holding tank and making those budget lines whole. So, and we do a lot of that, many things like moving money from contractual codes into supply codes and just trying to make the lines be in a positive. Most of it throughout the year that exceeds the 10,000 is typically salary settlement type stuff. So, but we have to review that with the board and we get the board's approval for anything over 10,000. So we had 4 this year, this month, for a total of $167,672 of transfers that we had to do that exceeded the 10,000. The other thing we do at these meetings is we approve any kind of donations that come into the district and are being used for a purpose. The donor will say that they want this money to go to support these IPEI grants. IPEI is a big donation, so they're always sending us money and it's supporting the educational things that you folks do. So we have to approve and we thank the donors. We had a donation from the Cornell Cooperative Extension, Tompkins County. We had a couple of IPEI grants. And we did have a donation to the community closet, and I'm gonna circle back to that in a moment on the community closet. So those are 4 donations, I believe, that I combined them, so a couple of them are extra. Then we also, I don't think I introduced myself, I'll do that at the end. We also appropriate funds, so for grants. So we have 2 things happening with Head Start at this meeting. We have a resolution to have us approve a 26-27 Head Start that for the county, and that money flows through the county. That starts in December for them, the whole application process. And part of that application process is getting the district to commit to say that, yes, we're gonna be part of the Head Start program for next year. So we have 2 things happening with Head Start in this meeting. One is we're appropriating the funds for this current year Head Start program. So that's when we get the money and we have to distribute it to the budget lines and all the teachers for the pre-K program that the Head Start supports. So we're doing that. And then we're also asking for approval for us to commit to the same program for next year. So there's always, it's a little confusing because it's 2 separate years, but 2 items that are the Head Start items. I think that was it for me. And I'm Emily Scheit, and I'm the Assistant School Business Executive. I work directly in the business office and oversee a lot of the business work. I work alongside Lori and Dominic is my supervisor, and I also cover the payroll supervision as well to pay all the folks in the district. So then I'm gonna go back to the community closet because we had some donations come in for the community closet, and these are regular donations that we get. And we had some last month, and there was a question on what the community closet was. And we invited Rachel, right?
She was right there.
Yes, Rachel. And Rachel surprised us with a little presentation, which is lovely, to really explain what the community closet is. We didn't expect her to. She went out of her way. We got one today.
Okay, if I can.
We get to look at this slideshow.
Sure.
Rachel.
Rachel, before you start, if you don't mind, first of all, I want to thank you for coming. I'm Dominic Lacey, Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance. I work with an absolutely amazing team that manages our funds, $169 million budget. And what they do is they manage those funds to make sure that you have the resources you need to be successful. So of course, I want to thank Lori and Emily for doing all the work that they do, and the other team, folks that help them manage that budget. With that being said, at the last meeting, just to give you a little information beforehand, we had another donation that came in for the community closet. And I'm gonna claim new status. I've been here about a year and I did not know what community closet was. So I took it upon myself to go visit. And I was absolutely amazed at the work that's being done there. And so, Dr. Black, I want to thank you for introducing that to me, and of course, the visit was inspirational. So I asked Rachel if she would come and kind of give us an idea of the work you do. And I think I'm the only person in Ithaca that didn't know, but I do now. But if you wouldn't mind sharing the work that's really fun.
I'm absolutely happy to do that. Should I plug into the board or is it
Yep.
I'm gonna going
Up there, sure.
here? Okay, great. So I'm Rachel McDonald. I have been a librarian at IHS. Thank you so much. And I clicked this one before. Was beautiful. I can go there. That sounds even better. I've been a librarian at IHS for 9 years. And prior to that, I was a student at Caroline. I was a student at DeWitt, and I graduated IHS in 2001. The entire time I have been involved in the Ithaca community, I felt like this was something that was needed. And we have just about 40 feet away from where we sit. We have 2 resources for students I'm really happy about, and a lot of exciting collaborations happening within the school community. No. 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 Thank you. Okay, cool. We're gonna try this one more time.
Oh, you can turn it on the side. I think.
Okay. I'm supposed to be a tech expert. That's what librarians do. Now you're seeing the real me. All right. So the community closet is a free store. This is inspired by a resource I used a lot when I was in Massachusetts when I was younger. It's open to everyone. So ours in the high school is open to students. It's open for shopping during lunch. It provides clothes, shoes, and toiletries for students. And we average about 1,700 student visits per school year over the last 3 years. This project has inspired similar projects at Boynton. I've been collaborating with them for the past 2 years on their community closet, and Enfield Elementary School also really wants one. Stephen Anderson, the principal there, was at IHS, and so he knew that we could build something great at Enfield as well. The community market we started in October 2023 that provides take-home food twice a week for students and once a week for staff. It's in partnership with the Food Bank of the Southern Tier. We serve an average of 700 people per month in this school year so far, and we get most of our food from the food bank. We're also supported through other community organizations, and Green Star just yesterday dropped off a bunch of bulk spices for us, as well as $1,600 worth of food. We were one of their community partners at checkout. So Green Star members and shoppers donated about 5 shopping carts full of food to us, which is really wonderful. So this is a way to tackle food insecurity in the community, I think in a very impactful way that's also respectful and empowering for the students. Okay, so the model that we have is like a free store model. I want it to look really nice. I want people to feel happy and engaged when they come in and shop. It's open to everyone. Students can come in as often as they need. Some students shop for their whole families. Some people come in once because they forgot deodorant, or they want to find a dress for prom, or they want clothing for team spirit, you know. We also have a lot of clothing emergencies, probably less than you would have at your average elementary school, but those do happen, and we have clothes for that too. I also really like to provide work clothes for students, because if you're going to have your first job and your first paycheck goes to your work clothes, it's kind of a bummer. And we have winter gear for when it's really cold out like now. So last Friday, I was at Catholic Charities getting coats. So we have more coats for our students. The Finger Lakes Running Club donates their returns and exchanges for running shoes. So we have really nice running shoes for students to participate in gym, and the Dump and Run also supports us, which is fantastic. We get a lot of good stuff that way. Some of our joys and wins. The South Hill second grade team is going to come during Regents Week. It's their 3rd year of doing a donation drive for us. They do an entire unit on wants versus needs. They collect toiletries. They all come down, they take a tour, I read them a story. It's really exciting to have a bunch of second grade energy in the space. It's amazing. Our student volunteers support the space. The top picture is students packing orders. The Boynton location went live March 2025. We also started a collaboration with Caroline at that point in time, where our students pack food. Caroline families order online, our students pack food, it goes out to Caroline. Our BJM collaboration, which is the same model, went live in November 2025, and ICSD Transportation is now providing support, which is fantastic. So our community partners for here include Green Star. Ithaca Farmers Market was donating a bunch of local honey to us, which was amazing, and also Friendship Donation Network. The bottom picture is when Josh Riley came to visit in May. That was really fun. It was exciting to have him here and hear what he was doing in Washington, trying to help alleviate some food insecurity. So here are some statistics, because I figured the Finance Committee loves statistics. From November 2023 to June 2025, we distributed 62,000 pounds of food in partnership with Food Bank of the Southern Tier. We have fed 13,800 people in 3,600 duplicated households. So there are repeats. Some people really rely on this. And this does not include this year's data, so it also does not include BJM. So those numbers will continue to rise. Our top 4 product types, people love fresh produce, dairy, meat, fish, poultry, and fruit. Our top 4 product types are things that are very hard to get from a traditional food bank, which is a bunch of cans in a basement. So I'm very proud of this. I love the setup. I love that it looks like a store, and I love the community support that we have gotten. The bottom picture are the bulk spices from Green Star. This is a really fun way to make inexpensive food taste really good. It's also a way to get culturally relevant food in our family households. So this destigmatizes use by being open to everyone. The food goes home with students after school. This helps working families. This helps people who lack access. Being from Caroline myself, I know that lack of access in rural areas is really, really difficult. And we were really happy to also partner with BJM to solve some of those problems that happen for those families as well. This replaces the backpack program, and the families get to order and choose what they want. So this is a lot nicer for them and increasing choice and access. Nurturing growth. We are building community with an ICSD. So besides BJM and Caroline that I already talked about, South Hill second grade is going to come visit. That's always lots of fun. Boynton, we are going to collaborate with the FCS classroom and kind of develop locally focused recipes. LACS, I'm currently sending food boxes to them, but the students are working on a clothing closet, and they want to set up their own community market. Enfield, we're sharing bulk spices, and I'm sending them clothing and toiletries as they establish their community closet. And then DeWitt Middle School is doing a food drive for us, and we are also going to start sending food home to them January 2026. So I know I don't have a ton of time. I think that was everything I was here to say.
First of all, I want to thank you so much for doing this evening. I wanted to share with you that I've shared this model with a couple of other districts that I converse with.
Yeah.
And they're very excited, and you'll probably be hearing from them very soon.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I did hear from a district north of us last year about starting a community closet, but their administrators were not supportive, and I didn't really know what to say. I was like, oh, well, just ask your principal. Find some space. And they're like, oh, we've done that. It doesn't work. So I do have a lot of building support and also district level support.
Great.
Really good.
And I just want to let folks know that the donation that we received, obviously going to very good use. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I have a one pager. I actually want it. Thank you.
That's good. So we are at the end of section 4, but Dr. Leeson, you mentioned the budget presentation system. I don't see that anywhere. Are we going to do that today, or are we going to push that off to next one?
I think one of the things we did want to do is at least briefly share the calendar, the budget calendar, if we do that.
Yeah, of course.
I'll take 1 minute to show the new budget presentation model, if we can do that.
Yeah, no, it's just so I guess sort of should have had another item, I guess, for No, we can. I'm just but I'm just gonna we're going to we finished consideration of accounts. As interesting as it usually is, today was especially inspiring, and so I'm glad we had that, the presentation. So I was aware of the community closet program, but I was not aware of how extensive it was. So it was eye-opening for me, and I don't know, I don't wanna speak for, I think it might be good, maybe next semester, we could maybe have that presentation for the whole board,
Yeah, I was falling asleep during that. I haven't fallen asleep since high school and I was nodding off and I'm just being honest. I caught the end of it and I was like, oh, this is really great. So
okay.
I would love to see it next year because I don't know that much of this stuff.
Right. So anyway, she's like, thank you, Rachel, for coming, and so now we have a word about budgeting schedule.
Yeah, the budget, the yearly budget calendar.
Yeah.
We have, we'll be presenting this to the board very soon, just to kind of give you a layout. A lot of this is driven by state mandates and their calendar, but so we've already started essentially the process with our stakeholders and having those conversations, but you can see the schedule's laid out much like it is in every year. And again, we'll be sharing this with the board shortly. The key dates, obviously, the voting dates, some of the TBD are our focus areas. We don't have those scheduled yet, but be adding those shortly. Any questions then? So just so you know, on a yearly basis, we have a budget calendar. It's all the things that we have to do on a yearly basis. It's very cyclical. So every year it's essentially the same thing, but we put in the dates of when we have to achieve certain things in the budget. So the New York State will tell us, well, you've got to let folks know what the taxes are going to be, essentially what the tax rate is by this date. So we build our calendar based on those events. And we share that with the public, and the board approves that calendar. So we'll be doing that shortly. Let's get it. All right, very good. The next part of this, if you wouldn't mind pulling that out. One of the things that I would say I learned, but one of the things that I experienced last year going through the process was I was hoping to find a better way, not a better way, but another way to share the budget and the district finances in a way that was linear, transparent, where folks could also dig in a way that provides them not only the 30,000-foot view, but a way that they could also see it at a granular level and where it tells a story. So we hope to adopt an application this year. It's called Budget Book. And it lives on our website. And again, all of this information is already on our website. You kind of have to, so if you want to see the budget, you can click here and so on and so forth. What this does is it brings it all together in a story form, in a way that folks can kind of go through and they can see the entire process from beginning to end and kind of look at it from, here's our story. These are the folks involved. And I might have you go a couple of pages, and this pages you see the bottom of the arrows. I'm using another school district right now just because they have theirs done. We're going to be building ours this year. So the executive summary just kind of is the general information about the district and the budget, how many students we have, and so on and so forth. Go through this for where we are. It's just generic information. Who we are. So the Board of Education, the leadership team, tells a little bit about us in general. We'll through the budget timeline. So that calendar I just showed you would now be part of this book. So again, the reason we're doing this is when folks ask us about our budget process, they go on the website, click one button and see the whole story. This is really kind of cool. It shows our budget revenues as a pie graph, and it will be somewhat interactive. So if you look over here, it says for them, their state aid, for this district, their state aid is that blue section. So it shows how much they're receiving in state aid for the school district by percentage as well. So this pie graph helps show that. And this is one way to show it. It's a graphical representation. Then we'll move on and you can see what the numbers are that's represented. So these are our expenditures, so not ours, but these are their expenditure. It shows that in a graphical representation. So all of this can be found too in the table of contents. That folks can jump to these specific areas just by clicking on them on the left. But we'll go ahead and forward to the next page. It's the second look. So that first graph that showed revenue, where it comes from, here's now the next layer of that, breaks it down a little bit further. Again, all in the same place. And I won't go through this whole thing. It's long because this is their complete budget. But again, it will continue to break it down into each level at a more granular level. So we're looking forward to doing this. We'll probably keep what we have now. That makes sense. We do this in parallel this year, and this is one of the ways that we'll be sharing the budget. We also were excited to find that the entire book can be downloaded as a PDF if someone wants to read it. So again, something I'm looking forward to.
Questions? Sorry. No, I think this is great. Right, so, I think we're gonna wrap up the finance portion of the meeting. I mean, we just we conclude with just two thoughts. First is that this is a public organization. Our funding comes from public, 75% from taxpayers, 25% from state and federal government. So we are accountable for how that money is spent. So a lot of discussion you've had here is about accountability, transparency. Every dollar in, every dollar out is in these reports and available to everybody. In that same line, Dr. Lisi's made some efforts to try to make our budgeting process more transparent. It's hard for a lot of people to go and look at all these tables and figures, and so we're trying to make it easier for people to understand where the money comes from and where the money goes. So that is our annual budgeting process. And as we move to the second portion of the meeting, which is facilities, we're going to talk about something else, which is a capital project. And an actual question someone might ask is, what's the difference between a budget and a capital project? And maybe I'll let I'll let our expert just explain the difference between a budget for annual recurring expenses, things like salaries, and a capital project which pays for major renovations and additions to our facility. So let's transition to item 5, which is the facilities discussion, and item 5.1 is a construction budget update for capital projects. And Chris, I want to put you on the spot, but Chris, probably you could just say what a capital project is as we go in.
Thanks, Barrett. My name is Chris Glaubitz. I'm an architect. I work with Tetra Tech Architects and Engineers. We are architects, we're engineers, and we've been working with ICSD since about 2018. And we help the school district, along with some of their staff, figure out what needs to be fixed. You might walk around and see some things yourself, have your own lists, I don't know. We also help the school district figure out, okay, you've got a number of things to be fixed, some things that maybe don't look like they're wrong, but you want to improve for teaching and learning, and figure out how to get that built along with other partners. And I'll turn it over for a second to Travis.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm Travis Randall. I work for Campus Construction Management Group. So like Chris was saying, we work hand in hand with the owner, the client, in this case, it's the school district, and also the architect and engineer, which is Tetra Tech. And yeah, we oversee all the construction that's necessary. Chris's team kind of designs, and then we kind of oversee a multitude of contractors that are kind of installing that vision.
So to do larger capital projects, the voters need to approve that through a public referendum. And so there's one that's being planned, and you might, if you come back, if you have another government, requirement to come, you might learn more about that in coming months. But so we need approval from voters. The school district receives about 58 cents on the dollar in reimbursement from the state of New York to pay for that stuff. The district then also goes out to the community to levy taxes on the community to be able to cover the rest of it along with the rest of their budget. So that's kind of how that gets done. So we're going to talk about one specifically tonight. So whenever you want to go, I don't know if you have other questions about that.
Okay, jump right in. Thank you.
So
Yeah,
are we doing your update first, or
the agenda, we have a financial update, so I don't have slides for that in particular, but I can speak to it certainly. So like Chris was alluding to, the current referendum that we're working off of was passed by voters in 2019. It was for $120 million for renovations around the entirety of the district. I think we've been in, I think, every building, or
So,
very near
every school building.
every learning, yeah, including transportation center and some
Yep.
others as well. So yeah, so to date, we just recently, in November, awarded a project. The combined total of all the projects awarded to date is right around 90,000, or I'm sorry, 90 million. Part of the budget also goes to incidental costs. These are all the costs that aren't directly construction. There's financing fees, there's permitting fees, there's everything that's not kind of brick and mortar. So we have bunch of incidental costs. We also have contingencies for construction too. And
So just a note on that, when we're planning capital projects, what we don't want is for the district to run out of money. So we round up and we say, here's what we're budgeting, we're creating a budget, and we hope to come in lower than that. And we regularly do. When we're bidding projects, we have to bid them out on the open market in a public way. So we don't necessarily know what that market will deliver to us for costs. Campus does a great job, though, historically of estimating that and anticipating that. But you never know, like tariffs, you've heard about tariffs, that impacts material prices. So things happen sometimes that we can't anticipate. And these projects take a couple years to bring to fruition. So, we're trying to be conservative. And the capital project that we're going to talk about tonight is able to be done because we were conservative and got good bids and things came in, and we've got some money left or some capacity left over to be able to spend and do another capital project.
perfect segue, just like we planned, Chris. We planned it all. So last month, one of the key figures that we've been focusing in on as we kind of are getting closer towards the capacity of the 2019 referendum is the unallocated referendum balance. And I modified the name slightly to take fund out, as you pointed, Garrett, it's technically not a fund. So I updated that in the monthly report. I don't know if you caught that or not, but at any rate, the value that we're reporting this month is $3,048,857. That's included in the monthly report that was distributed just last Friday. So that represents about a $600,000 increase from the previous month, which is great news. I'd also like to report that campus is just today, I was able to line up a meeting with fiscal advisors, the district's fiscal planner, for next Monday. And we're going to look into revising our forward forecasts and also digging in and seeing out of our current budget numbers that we're using any other additional funds. So we're hoping to announce in the coming, I don't want to promise it for January, but soon that we'll be able to get report even additional unallocated balance.
Can I ask a question of the audience? Just quiz time. Does anybody know what the Federal Reserve did 2 days ago? They lowered the prime interest rate. That trickles down to folks like school districts who go out and borrow money. So trying to tie it into like national news you might have heard about.
Yeah, actually, so there's good news and bad news on that. It means borrowing costs can be lower for capital projects. At the same time, as you heard the treasurer, or not treasurer, Emily say, we get a lot of money coming in at the beginning of the year. So folks, your parents probably pay taxes around the end of October. That money comes in and we spend it over the course of a year. So we have that float. And a couple of years ago, when interest rates were very low, there wasn't much you could do with it. Just put it in piggy bank. But now that interest rates have been higher and although starting to come down again, good news for us is our borrowing cost is lower for capital projects. The bad news is the the cash that we're sitting on now that just came in with tax revenue, we can't earn as much interest from that as we were able to last year. So last year was like $2 million, something like that last year. We got about $2 million of sort of extra revenue from investing the tax revenue in short-term investments until we needed to pay out things like staff salaries. Anyway, sorry, economist to me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
I think if, unless there's any questions, I think that's, cover what I have for financial updates.
All right. Shall we roll into the discussion of the capital project? We have
Yeah,
some
so I
slides for that.
just to say again, to recap, in 2019, voters approved about $120 million line of credit. We are nearing the end of that line of credit. As Chris and Travis said, we budget conservatively, and now we have a little bit of that line of credit remaining. And it looks like it'll be enough to make some improvements that you might appreciate here at the high school, which they're about to introduce.
Thanks. Getting the right one teed up. So we're going to talk about two things tonight. One is an update on the STEM suite that's on the north end of the building that you might have seen all the mud and the construction zone over there. The other is a proposed project that will do some work in the locker room shower areas. Yeah, you're nodding your heads because like you know what that's like in there. So those are the two items, and thanks. All right. Thank you, Tricia. Okay, so we'll start with the proposed capital project. So this is proposed renovations to the boys' locker room shower areas on the left in the green and the gold, the girls on the right, and up in the middle there's what would be a non-gender specific and community oriented area for showering and changing. This is primarily to allow folks access to the pool, their code requirements for showers, to improve some accessibility to those spaces. You might have heard the term ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, was created in 1990 to allow folks with disabilities to have access to showers and bathrooms, and you see the ramps and all the things, so folks can use all the kind of the facilities. As well, there's really aging infrastructure in there, so multiple reasons why this has risen up as we have lots of discussions about what capital project work could be within the district. So this is zooming in on, this is a little more detail than what we saw on Tuesday evening. Zooming in on the boys' side, in the gray you see sort of those lockers. That's the big sort of locker area. And then the pink area in the middle is that sort of, they call it a drying area, but it's just sort of that open tiled area. And then you can sort of go down that little hallway and there's that back open shower area. So that pink area we're suggesting would be renovated to turn into storage. The blue area on the top left there is basically the existing bathrooms. We're suggesting that would be renovated to change out the fixtures, redo the tile, things like that. Also make those facilities handicap accessible, so compliant with the current accessibility code. Then the green area near the bottom is where I think there are a couple stalls down there, sort of on the right-hand side of the floor plan, and an open shower area on the left, and then you sort of do that zigzag, and then you go into the natatorium. The natatorium being the room in which the pool sits. So that's a little more specifics about the areas and what we think they would turn into. The goal is to provide 4 private showers, so like a shower with at least a curtain on it, on both the boys and girls sides. So we'll look at the girls side in a moment, and then also seek, as we really figure out the nitty gritty of that layout in the design process, seek to incorporate some open shower nozzles, kind of like the ones that are there, as we can for like the swim team that probably wants to get a dozen or 20 people kind of showered off quickly and into the pool for practice. So that's the idea there. One of the other things as we do this is to fix a plumbing problem that was discovered that basically the plumbing is sort of interconnected in a way that's not so good. It's combining the sanitary sewer with stormwater, so stuff that comes down the roof drains. That's a stormwater system. Should be a different pipe than the sanitary sewer, which is sinks and toilets. Different pipe. We want them different. They're sort of crossing over, and that's not good. So we'll be fixing that as we do this work as well. Okay. Going over to the girls' side, it's a different layout, but the same kind of thing. For the pink area, I'll start with that. There's that open shower room that we'll see some pictures in a second here that is already essentially being used for storage, but we would renovate that space to remove. I don't think any of the showers are actually leaking in that specific space, but they're, some are leaking in other spaces. But so to kind of deal with the plumbing in a way that it's not a liability, turn that into storage space. That it'll probably be for athletics, and you'll see that there are uniforms, all kinds of other stuff being stored in there right now. The green area would be renovated similarly to be showers. So in the lower kind of part of that green area, there are 4 existing shower stalls. None of them is ADA compliant. So we would renovate those as needed. We haven't, figured out exactly the layout yet. Maybe we would keep some the size that they are, and maybe just fix finishes. We may demolish 1 or 2 to create a larger handicap accessible stall, as well as using the upper area in the green, which is sort of that next showering room that you use to enter the pool. Then the blue area, so there are 4 toilets and sinks, sort of down there below. We understand that, there's sometimes a backup for those, and the need for teams coming in and lots of folks at once needing to use the bathroom suggests increasing the number of toilet fixtures. So we would use some space in that other blue rectangle to the right to add some more spaces that would be handicap accessible. So it's a little more detail about how we think we would use the space. Once we enter into the design process, we would, get into the nitty-gritty of like exactly what is the layout, what can we salvage, what do we need to rip out, that sort of thing. There is a third gender neutral showering spot up in that sort of center at the top of the plan. This can be used for community use. It can be used when you have for like family use, when you have the swim clinics that you've done in the past. And obviously gender neutral facilities that you've provided in other areas of the building for students that feel more comfortable in that setting. We're suggesting that there could be 2 private stalls created in this existing open shower area, and renovating the blue area, which is the current bathroom. It would probably turn into just 1 toilet, so it's ADA accessible for that location. Couple pictures. So this is inside. You all probably know it. Everyone has seen these pictures already. We see the storage in the middle. We see on the bottom in the middle there the individual shower stalls. That's on the girls' side. The building is settling over years. This area was a swamp, so the soils are not the best. So in the last 65 years since this was built, the building has settled a bit. So improving at least the finishes in that space is something that we'd recommend. That's not a structural concern to us at the moment because this building has a steel frame, so the concrete block wall is not holding up the roof. On the right, we see then the boys' room, just an example of the wear and tear, creating tile falling off. There are other examples that are sharp edges and things where people are walking around in bare feet. So that's a little bit of existing conditions there. These are some of the bathrooms. Similar kind of story in terms of upgrading finishes, providing toilet fixtures and and clearance and space to move around that is in compliance with the ADA requirements. So this is a scope document that outlines this work. The first 6 line items of that are what I just discussed. 7th line item is replacing the bleachers in Bliss Gym, basically in kind, meaning in the generally the same locations and the same quantities, to create a capital project that we're seeking, approval from the district to move forward with. So, are there any questions about that? Or feedback?
Any questions about the project itself? Okay, so I think, let me just recap the process. So 2019 voters approved the capital project. We are nearing the end of that. We're approaching the end of our line of credits. We have a little bit of money left, and so based on our building assessments and the needs of our programs, especially feedback coming from the athletic director, we've identified this need. We have a plan to address the need. If it's approved by the full board next week, then next we will go to the bond market and borrow the money. But that's why the interest rate thing is so important. We'll borrow that money, and then with the cash in hand, we will put it out for bid, invite contractors to come in and bid the project. And I think by then the end of summer 2027, when you walk into the natatorium, that's a word I didn't know. Like SAT word there, I didn't know. It'll look more impressive if you're still here. So that's the process.
Thanks. Well, Latin for you there. Yeah, so in between those, we with the approval of the board, we would start the design process, and we submit to the state, with the 2027.
Schedule is locked in. It's probably best case scenario, summer 2027.
Best case, okay.
It's schools are really constrained into the nature of education and then the school year, so we really are kind of shoehorned into like these summer sprints. So it could be a summer 2028. It could be
We'll aspire summer 2027.
Yes.
See how it goes. So thank you for that process.
Yeah, thanks. Is it okay if we get you a contract to get underway with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to put this, if you agree, I think the committee would like to put this before the full board, next Tuesday, to vote and get moving.
Great, thanks.
And then I think next thing is the STEM.
Yeah, we're gonna give a little bit of an update, from our
They're all the same.
It's the same one.
Yeah,
So just keep going. All right, thank you. So the STEM suite on the north end of Ithaca High School over there. Includes about 10,000 square feet of renovation and a couple small additions. The top right includes an addition for the auto body shop, as well as a space designed for a couple different uses, general project layout area, but also for Code Red Robotics to be able to rehearse in build season for the contests that they engage in. The rest of the area is renovated to take those. There are, I think, 4 sort of discrete rooms that are currently being used for, there's like a metal shop, a wood shop, print shop, and the computers were in the space with all that other dirty stuff happening. So this separates in those sort of 4 more rectangular boxes in the bottom, sort of cleaner spaces for computers, and then a larger sort of messier space up top with the wood shop to the right where it's really dirty in terms of dust. To the left of this plan, there's also an addition that links area E over to the back of area C, so you can get from the cafeteria through a hallway, stay indoors, and get into locker rooms and other stuff. So it really connects 2 different parts of the building that were never connected before. in terms of the vision, so we've got a rendering up top, and these pictures were taken yesterday. So this is the sort of the taller volume that includes that code red robotics space where it's tall so the robot can, you know, throw things, and it's designed a little bit about that around that standard contest space. It's an largely open space, so you can roll tables and stuff in there and do other project work. So that's coming along. So the gray stuff that you see there is concrete block. What will be going up in front of that is insulation and brick. And I think they're starting on brick a little bit in some areas. The brick veneer that goes in front of that. So that it will look ultimately more like the rendering up above. This sort of box in front of it that's gray on the top, that top piece is where the dust collector would sit. And we've got a screen for that so that when you're driving down Lake Street, it's not like, oh, here's Ithaca, there's this piece of equipment like spewing sawdust, right? So try to incorporate the mechanical stuff that needs to happen and shield it so that it looks nice as well. This driveway, which is shifted over a little bit from where the existing driveway is on that part of the building, also incorporates a turnaround. We heard that students coming out of athletic events and after school often come out that little door that's kind of, you can see that light tan colored door, and get picked up by their parents there. And it happened in a sort of a clunky way. So we said, well, if this is happening already, and now we're encouraging this STEM programs, especially during build season. Students are there, you know, well into the evening at like this time of year when it's like been dark for a couple hours, to allow, you know, caregivers to come and pick students up there in a more organized way. There's a little lobby there that students can wait in and see their, you know, be warm and see their parents, so you're not hanging out in front of IHS and kind of freezing out there. So this is another picture, you know, with the scaffolding that the masons have erected to be able to work up that facade and install the brick. The areas that have that plastic over them will be glass, as you can see in the image above. So this is a north facing. So we're hopeful that we'll get a good quality light in there so that you can do some natural daylighting in that big space. Also, there was a lot of attention paid to security as well. So you'll see that there aren't very many windows down low. That was something that was important as well. So trying to get light in, make it feel as open as we can, but keep it secure. This is a rendering on top of that larger space, and this construction obviously below. You see the two ducts sort of coming out. That's a point, and the opening to the right, which is partially covered with plastic right now, will be a rolling door there that will be released in the event of a fire for fire safety, or if the teachers wanted to use those spaces separately, you could also bring that down and have something happening in this larger space while essentially another lesson is happening in the other space. So trying to design in some flexibility there. And these are on the top. This is the main space. So on the left, and full disclosure, we just sort of flipped this rendering so it would match the picture that we took, but it looks pretty similar from either direction. Their classrooms on the left, there's a lot of glass there. We heard from teachers from Mr. Briegel was really involved in this. Mr. Criley as well, some of the other folks that teach this curriculum, and wanting to be able to be in some of this, you know, in one of these computer rooms. You can kind of see some of the computer screens through the glass on the left there on the top image, and maybe be working with students there, but also be able to visually see out into this other space. So they could have a safe environment and be able to oversee, you know, potentially a couple of different groups of students at the same time. So construction below, we've got some of these walls coming up. Obviously the glass is not in yet. Rendering of one of these more sort of classroom-like spaces, and construction below. So we're getting there. We got walls up. We got some paint going on walls. This is the corridor that was recently opened. This is the one that you walk down. The cafeteria is sort of to the left, you come in and then you take a right and you can get to those couple science rooms if you walk all the way around. The corridor, if you continued straight, would be the one that would connect you to the back of C. So tile walls and ceiling going up. So it's really exciting to see some shiny finishes going on. It means that we're getting closer to being done with construction here. And I think that is a quick update on the status there. There was one video that we wanted to play also. So to back up a little bit, during the design process, we met with, I mentioned some of the teachers that we met with. We also met with students. We had a number of folks from Code Red and folks that were involved in a lot of the classes that would be centered in this space. One of the tools that we as professionals use is virtual reality, and we model buildings in 3 dimensions. So we can take those models, and I'm just going to let this play. We can even turn the sound off.
That's right. I really appreciate you going back and sharing that process. It's great. Look forward to seeing come to fruition. We're looking in summer.
Yeah, looking to get, so the next September, the plan is that students would be in those spaces starting to use them.
Okay.
All right.
So, well, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to that opening, and that brings us to 5.4, other discussion items. Section 6, action items. 7, agenda setting. Not hearing anything? Oh. All right, then if there's not objection, we'll move on to item 8. This is adjournment. Oh, thank you.
I wanna make sure everyone understood, I wasn't saying it was boring and I was nodding off, I was actually falling asleep, so I've been working too much, I've been sleeping, so I wanna make that distinction in case anyone had any doubt. The presentation was wonderful, what I did see of it, but. So.
We appreciate your continual.
And that's why I made it, I was like, oh, I didn't done
done
this since I was in this school,
Yeah.
30 years ago, or however long it's been.
So 69 minutes, it's not quite 2 hours, I don't know if you have to come back or.
Do you really? Oh.
Unless you wanna sign off.
Listen, you came to the right place, I just don't, I would probably